My name is Scarlett Ramirez, and for the past 25 years, I've dedicated my life to architecture. At 49, I've earned my place at the top of my field, transforming neglected neighborhoods and overlooked lots into vibrant, sustainable community spaces. My passion has always been to blend functionality with aesthetic beauty, making a tangible difference in people's lives while respecting their budgets. I work at Whitestone & Parker, one of New York City's most prestigious yet cutthroat design firms. The competition here is relentless. Everyone is eager to climb the ladder. And every project feels like a test of survival. I've weathered it all, navigating office politics and proving myself time and time again. For years, I believed hard work and talent would be enough to thrive here. But lately, things have changed. Amelia Wright, my supervisor, is a force to be reckoned with. At just 39, she's already the youngest senior partner in the firm's history. Her rise has been meteoric, driven by her charm, ambition, and an uncanny ability to align herself with the right people. When Amelia first joined Whitestone & Parker 5 years ago, she seemed genuinely interested in my ideas, often stopping by my desk to chat about my latest design concepts. I saw her as a promising mentee, someone I could guide and support. Looking back, I realize I was naive. Outside my glass-walled office, I catch my colleagues' curious glances as they pass by, their whispers lingering in the air. They're all waiting for the announcement of the Harborview Towers project, a project I poured my heart into, spending countless late nights crafting every detail. That project was supposed to be my legacy, the culmination of everything I'd worked for. Now, a dull sense of dread has settled in my chest. Amelia's recent behavior, her dismissive tone, the way she subtly cuts me out of conversations, the cryptic emails, signals something's brewing. I'm no stranger to adversity, but this feels different, like a storm I can't quite predict. I take a deep breath and remind myself, I've faced bigger challenges. Whatever Amelia's planning, I'll be ready. After all, architecture isn't just about structures, it's about resilience. And if there's one thing I've mastered in this business, it's surviving. The morning started like any other, with the buzz of construction updates and the murmur of conversations about deadlines and design revisions. I tried to focus on my work, but there was a knot in my stomach that I couldn't ignore. Amelia Wright had called an impromptu meeting for 11 a.m., and the tone of her email, "We need to align on next steps," made my pulse quicken. When I entered the conference room, she was already there, her expression calm and confident. The room felt colder than usual, sterile with its sleek lines and polished chrome accents. I took my seat, noticing that a few of my colleagues were watching from outside, their eyes filled with curiosity and, perhaps, pity. "Scarlett," Amelia began, her voice smooth as silk. "I wanted to talk to you about the Harborview Towers project." My heart sank. That project was my pride and joy. A sustainable design that transformed an abandoned warehouse district into a vibrant community space. I'd spent countless nights perfecting the concept, balancing green roofs, natural ventilation, and affordable housing units, a project I believed could be a model for urban revitalization. I reviewed the latest plans, she continued, sliding a manila folder across the table. And I'm concerned about some of the design choices. They don't align with the direction the firm wants to take on this project. I blinked. What do you mean? The board approved the concept months ago. I incorporated all the feedback from the last review. She smiled, a tight, rehearsed expression. Yes, but there's been a shift in priorities. We need someone who can bring fresh leadership to Harborview. Someone who can think strategically about the firm's growth. Fresh leadership? My voice sounded smaller than I'd intended. Amelia, I've led this project from the start. You know that. Of course, she said lightly, as though discussing the weather. But this isn't just about design. It's about the firm's future. And frankly, Scarlett, you've been here a long time. Maybe it's time to consider transitioning into a more supportive role. A wave of nausea hit me. I'd heard of these tactics, how companies push seasoned professionals aside under the guise of strategic alignment. But to have Amelia, the person I once thought of as a protégé, suggest it so smoothly felt like a betrayal. "So you're removing me from my own project," I said quietly, more a statement than a question. She let out a sigh. feigning empathy. It's not personal. It's about what's best for the firm. Harborview needs a fresh vision. And I'm ready to provide that. The words stung. You're taking over my project, I said, my voice trembling with anger. Her eyes gleamed. It's not about taking over, Scarlett. It's about ensuring success. And the partners agree. My mind was racing. I thought about the late nights, the meticulous research, the endless revisions to meet budget constraints and community needs. All of it, my sweat, my ideas, was about to be credited to someone else. I'm not stepping aside, I said finally, my voice gaining strength. This project is mine. Amelia's smile vanished. She leaned back, crossing her arms. Scarlett, let's be clear. I'm the senior partner. I decide project leadership. You're a valuable asset to the team. But your role here is changing. Effective immediately. I'll be leading Harborview. I felt like the room was spinning. Effective immediately? She nodded. I expect a smooth transition. You'll continue supporting the design team on other projects. Rage and disbelief warred inside me. You can't just. Actually, she interrupted smoothly. I can. And I have. I've already spoken to HR about reassigning your workload. They'll follow up with you this afternoon. A sense of helplessness threatened to overwhelm me. But I forced myself to stay calm. You've been planning this, I said, haven't you? Her gaze never wavered. I've been ensuring that the firm's best interests are protected. I clenched my fists beneath the table. You mean protecting yourself? I spat. Her smile returned, cold and triumphant. Call it what you want. The board trusts me, and that's what matters. For a moment, I couldn't speak. My mind was a storm of betrayal, disappointment, and a burning resolve. I wasn't ready to surrender. Not after everything I'd built. As I left the conference room, my steps felt heavy. I passed by the row of framed project photos lining the hallway, each a testament to my years of dedication. Each now overshadowed by Amelia's betrayal. I thought of my team. The junior architects who'd looked to me for guidance. The community leaders who'd trusted me to bring their vision to life. My phone buzzed. A message from Jacob, one of the design associates I'd mentored since he was fresh out of college. Hey, is it true you're off Harborview? She's saying you're stepping down. My fingers trembled as I typed back. She's forcing me out. Seconds later, another message arrived. That's insane. Everyone knows that project is your baby. She's been telling people she's the one who landed the contract. And now she's taking credit for the design, too. My jaw tightened. I had expected as much. But seeing it confirmed made the betrayal even more real. I knew I couldn't let Amelia get away with it. Back at my desk, I pulled open the bottom drawer and retrieved the external hard drive where I'd been archiving my work, drafts, notes, concept sketches, even the time-stamped CAD files that proved my authorship. I had everything I needed to defend myself. But using it would mean challenging Amelia head-on. A wave of determination surged through me. I couldn't let her take my work, my legacy, without a fight. Harborview wasn't just another project. It was the culmination of my life's work. A chance to make a difference. And no one, especially not Amelia Wright, was going to steal that from me. As the afternoon sun streamed through the office windows, I opened my laptop and began drafting a plan. Amelia had underestimated me. She thought she could silence me with a smile and a fancy title. But I wasn't going down without a fight. I spent the rest of the afternoon gathering everything I needed. Time-stamped CAD files, emails with design revisions, even notes from community meetings that documented my creative process on Harborview. Every detail felt like a lifeline. Tangible proof that Harborview was mine. Yet as I clicked through file after file, the reality of what I was up against began to sink in. Amelia's influence at Whitestone and Parker ran deep. She'd charmed the partners, won over the HR team, and positioned herself as the firm's golden child. If she'd already spread her version of the story, it would be my word against hers. My phone buzzed again. A text from Jacob. Scarlett, she's meeting with Archer and Hayes tomorrow morning. She's showing them Harborview as her design. A chill shot down my spine. Archer and Hayes was one of our biggest competitors, but also a potential collaborator on major projects. If Amelia managed to sell them on her ownership of Harborview, she'd not only steal my credit, She'd secure her future and leave me in her shadow forever. Without thinking, I grabbed my jacket and headed for the elevator. If Amelia was meeting them tomorrow, I needed to get ahead of her tonight. Outside, the city air felt sharp against my face. The skyline glowed with office lights, each window a reminder of the long hours and hard work that defined my life here. I flagged a cab and gave the driver an address I knew well, Archer and Hayes headquarters on Madison Avenue. Inside the cab, my mind spun. What would I say? How would I prove my authorship before Amelia's lies took hold? I replayed the design process in my head, every brainstorming session, every sketch, every late-night breakthrough that had shaped Harborview. When the cab pulled up, I took a deep breath and paid the driver, then crossed the street to the glass and steel tower that housed Archer and Hayes. The security guard at the front desk gave me a polite smile. "Good evening. How can I help you?" "I'm here to speak with James Donovan. It's regarding the Harborview Project." He checked his screen, then frowned. "I'm sorry, Ms. Scarlett Ramirez," I said quickly. He shook his head. "I don't see an appointment. Mr. Donovan left for the day around 6. My heart sank. I glanced at the clock on the wall. 7:15 p.m. Of course she'd be ahead of me. Amelia always had a plan. Always knew how to stay one step ahead. Still, I couldn't give up. "Could you leave him a message?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. "It's urgent." The guard nodded, handing me a small slip of paper. I scribbled a note. "Please contact me before tomorrow's meeting regarding Harborview. It's critical." I included my cell number and email, then thanked him and left. Outside, the city seemed colder now, the lights harsher. My thoughts swirled with frustration and fear. Amelia's betrayal wasn't just professional, it felt personal, like a knife in the back from someone I'd once considered a friend. As I walked back to my apartment, my phone buzzed again. Another text from Jacob. "She's telling everyone you're on a planned leave of absence, and that she's stepping in as project lead. She's rewriting history." Scarlett. A tremor ran through me. Amelia wasn't just taking the project, she was erasing me from it entirely. I needed to act fast. At home, I plugged in the external hard drive and began drafting an email to the partners at Whitestone and Parker. I attached key files, original design drafts, community meeting notes, CAD timestamps, each one reinforcing my authorship of Harborview. I composed a brief, direct message. Subject: urgent, Harborview Project ownership. Dear partners, I'm writing to formally assert my ownership of the Harborview Towers project design. Attached, you'll find detailed documentation proving that I developed the concept and design elements independently. I have reason to believe Amelia Wright is misrepresenting my work as her own and is meeting with Archer and Hayes tomorrow to present these designs under her name. I request an immediate review of the project authorship and a temporary freeze on any external meetings regarding Harborview until this matter is resolved. Please confirm receipt of this email at your earliest convenience. Respectfully, Scarlett Ramirez. I hovered over the send button, knowing that once I hit it, there would be no turning back. I clicked send. Minutes later, my phone rang. It was Harold Langley, one of the founding partners, a man known for his loyalty to the firm but not necessarily for standing up to conflict. "Scarlett," he began, his tone cautious, "I received your email. This is a serious allegation." "It's not an allegation," I said, my voice steady. "It's the truth. Amelia is taking credit for my work. I have the evidence." He sighed. "You know, Amelia's built a lot of trust with the partners. She's been invaluable in developing client relationships. This puts us in a difficult position." I felt a surge of anger. "So you'd rather protect Amelia's relationships than protect the integrity of this firm?" He paused. "I'm not saying that, but I need time to review the documents." "You don't have time," I said sharply. "She's meeting with Archer and Hayes tomorrow morning. If she sells them on her version of the design, you'll lose any leverage, and so will I." Harold's silence stretched for several seconds. Finally, he said, "I'll look into it tonight. I can't promise anything until I've spoken with the other partners." My heart pounded as I hung up. Time was slipping through my fingers like sand. As I sat there, staring at my laptop screen, another email popped up. It was from James Donovan. "Scarlett, I just saw your note. I'll be at the meeting with Amelia tomorrow morning. If there's something I need to know before then, please call me tonight." My hands shook as I dialed his number. He answered on the second ring. "Ms. Ramirez," he said, his voice warm but businesslike. "I understand there's some confusion about the Harborview designs." "There's no confusion," I said, taking a deep breath. "The designs are mine. Amelia is misrepresenting them as hers." He paused. "That's a serious claim. Can you prove it?" "Yes," I said, my voice gaining strength. "I have every draft, every timestamped file, every email. I can send them to you right now." "Do it," he said. "I'll review them tonight." As I attached the files and hit send, a sense of relief washed over me. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I had a fighting chance. Amelia had underestimated me. She'd counted on my silence, my fear of conflict, but she'd forgotten that I'd built my career on resilience. No one was going to steal my work without a fight. That night, I barely slept. My mind raced with every possible outcome, every scenario where Amelia might twist the truth. I'd spent years building a reputation as a reliable architect, steady, creative, meticulous, and now all of it felt like it was hanging by a thread. As dawn broke over the city skyline, I sat at my kitchen table, a cup of coffee growing cold beside me. I opened my email, hoping for a response from James Donovan. To my relief, there it was. "Scarlett, I've reviewed the files you sent. It's clear you developed these designs independently. I've also compared the metadata on the PDFs Amelia provided to us. They were created after yours. We have a meeting with Whitestone and Parker this morning, and I'd like you to join us to clarify authorship. Can you be at our office by 9 a.m.? My heart leapt. Finally, a glimmer of validation. Someone outside the firm who recognized the truth. I typed back immediately. "I'll be there. Thank you for giving me the chance to defend my work." I dressed with care, choosing a professional yet understated outfit, a navy blazer over a white blouse with tailored black slacks. I needed to project calm confidence, even though inside I felt like a volcano. As I stepped out into the cool morning air, the weight of the past few weeks pressed heavily on my chest. Amelia had tried to erase me from my own project, but now, for the first time, I felt like I had the chance to speak for myself, and for my work. The Archer and Hayes office was a sleek glass tower that gleamed in the morning sun. I checked in at reception, then was ushered to a conference room on the 20th floor. James Donovan greeted me with a firm handshake and a reassuring smile. "Scarlett, thank you for coming," he said. "I've also asked Amelia Wright and 2 partners from Whitestone and Parker to join us. It's important we settle this matter professionally." I nodded, my pulse pounding in my ears. "Thank you for giving me the chance to clarify things." Moments later, Amelia arrived with 2 senior partners from Whitestone and Parker, Peter and Laura. Amelia's expression was composed, almost serene, like she'd already won. "Scarlett," she said coolly, taking her seat, "I wasn't expecting to see you here. I'm here to clarify authorship," I replied, forcing my voice to remain steady. "It's important that everyone understands who actually created the Harborview design." Peter cleared his throat. "Scarlett, we're here to hear both sides. Let's proceed professionally." James gestured for me to begin. "I've reviewed the materials Scarlett provided," he said. "They show a clear timeline of design development. Scarlett's files are time-stamped and predate any materials Amelia submitted. Additionally, the CAD files include metadata showing authorship by Scarlett." Amelia's eyes narrowed. "Metadata can be altered," she said smoothly. "Scarlett's just upset because she's no longer leading the project." I felt anger simmering beneath my calm. "No, Amelia, I'm upset because you've stolen my work and tried to erase me from the project I poured my heart into." She laughed lightly. "Scarlett, please, we both know collaboration is messy. Harborview is a team effort." "Team effort?" I snapped, unable to keep my composure any longer. "You weren't even in the early meetings. I spent nights refining that design, integrating sustainable elements, balancing community needs with budget constraints. You didn't even know where to begin until you saw my sketches." James cleared his throat. "Amelia, can you explain why the files you sent us show a later creation date and lack iterative development compared to Scarlett's materials?" Amelia's confidence faltered for just a moment. I was refining the design, she said quickly. Scarlett gave me a starting point, but I built it into what it is today. Peter leaned forward. Amelia, that's not consistent with the project record. Scarlett was the lead designer from the start, and we have documented sign-offs showing her as project lead. Laura, the quieter of the two partners, spoke up. We've reviewed performance reviews, project notes, and meeting minutes. Everything points to Scarlett's leadership on Harborview. Amelia's mask cracked. You can't just take her word for it, she protested, her voice rising. She's trying to sabotage me because she's jealous. The room fell silent. James looked at me. Scarlett, is there any final documentation you'd like to submit to help us resolve this? I took a deep breath and reached into my folder. Actually, there is. I handed over a printed email from Amelia, dated months ago, asking for my input on Harborview's design elements. In it, she'd written, "Your vision for Harborview is exactly what we need." Peter read it aloud. Amelia's face drained of color. James leaned back in his chair. It's clear to me that Scarlett is the rightful designer of Harborview. Archer and Hayes will continue this collaboration only with her as project lead. Peter and Laura exchanged glances. Scarlett, we'd like to discuss reinstating you to lead Harborview, Laura said gently. This situation has opened our eyes to some concerns about leadership at Whitestone and Parker. Tears pricked at the corners of my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Thank you, I said simply. Amelia stood abruptly. This isn't fair. I built relationships with the city. I made this project happen. Peter's expression was firm. Amelia, we'll review your conduct separately. For now, Scarlett will lead Harborview. As Amelia left the room, her shoulders rigid with fury, I felt a profound sense of relief. I'd fought for my work, and won. James shook my hand. Congratulations, Scarlett. We look forward to working with you. Outside, the city seemed different. The skyline sparkled in the morning sun. No longer a place of betrayal, but of possibility. I'd learned that resilience wasn't just about surviving the politics and backstabbing. It was about standing up for myself, for my work, and for the principles that had guided me since the first day I set foot in this industry. And as I walked back to Whitestone and Parker to reclaim what was mine, I knew this fight had changed me forever. As I walked back into Whitestone and Parker's offices, I felt an unfamiliar mixture of triumph and caution. The glass doors slid open with their usual soft hiss, but this time they felt more like an invitation than a barrier. I'd fought my way back into my own story, but I knew the real challenge was just beginning. Peter met me at the entrance, his expression equal parts relief and awkward apology. Scarlett, he said, extending a hand, I'm glad you came back. We've met with Archer and Hayes, and they've confirmed they want you to lead Harborview. We'd like to discuss how to proceed. He led me to a small conference room, far less intimidating than the one where Amelia had tried to steal my legacy. Laura was already there, flipping through a folder of documents, her reading glasses perched on the tip of her nose. Scarlett, she began, looking up with a warm, professional smile, we owe you an apology. It's clear now that your authorship was never in question, and we deeply regret that this was allowed to happen. My chest tightened. An apology was a start, but it couldn't erase the months of doubt, fear, and betrayal I'd endured. Still, I nodded, accepting the gesture. Thank you, I said quietly. Laura continued, given the situation with Amelia, we're suspending her pending an internal investigation. Meanwhile, we'd like you to reassume your role as lead designer on Harborview, with full creative authority and direct communication with Archer and Hayes. A spark of hope ignited in my chest. That's all I ever wanted, I said, to finish what I started. Peter leaned forward. We're also exploring new leadership structures at Whitestone and Parker. Given the trust you've built with your team, and with our clients, we'd like you to consider stepping into a creative director role for urban revitalization projects. The words hung in the air like a challenge and a promise. Creative director. The title I'd dreamed of but never dared to hope for, at least. Not after Amelia's ruthless campaign. I took a deep breath. I'd be honored, I said, though part of me wondered how many bridges I'd have to rebuild in order to succeed. Peter smiled. We'll need to work through the details, but we're committed to supporting you. At that moment, Jacob knocked gently on the door. "Scarlett, sorry to interrupt," he said, eyes bright. "I just heard the news. Congratulations." His genuine relief washed over me like a balm. "Thanks, Jacob," I said, my voice catching slightly. Laura nodded. "We'll leave you to reconnect with your team. And Scarlett," she added, meeting my gaze with steady conviction, "we're behind you." As they left, Jacob closed the door softly behind them. "I knew you'd win," he said, his voice tinged with admiration. "Amelia's good at playing politics. But your work speaks for itself." I smiled, feeling the weight of the past few weeks lifting. "Thanks for believing in me," I said. Jacob's grin widened. "Always. Oh, and by the way, there's a line of people outside waiting to talk to you." I laughed softly, grateful for the loyalty I'd built over the years. "Tell them I'll be out in 5. As Jacob left, I turned to the window and let the moment sink in. I'd fought for my work, for my integrity, and for my future, and I'd won. But even more importantly, I'd learned that fighting for myself was the only way to build the kind of career I wanted, one where my voice mattered, where my designs weren't overshadowed by someone else's ambition. I opened my laptop and began drafting an email to the Portland city officials. I wanted to reassure them that I was back in charge of Harborview, and that the project would proceed with the vision and integrity they'd originally entrusted to me. "Dear Commissioners, I'm pleased to confirm that I am resuming leadership of the Harborview Towers project. I look forward to continuing our collaboration and ensuring that Harborview reflects the innovative, sustainable design that we discussed from the very beginning. Please let me know if you'd like to set up a meeting to review the next steps. I'm committed to delivering a project that will stand as a model for urban revitalization. Best regards, Scarlett Ramirez." As I hit send, my phone buzzed with another email. This one from Archer and Hayes. "Scarlett, we're excited to continue working with you. Let's set up a meeting to review your updated timeline and discuss additional opportunities. We're also interested in collaborating on another waterfront project in Brooklyn. Your expertise in sustainable design would be invaluable." My eyes widened. Another project? In Brooklyn? It felt like the universe was finally recognizing what I'd known all along. My ideas, my dedication, and my voice had value. I took a deep breath, feeling a new sense of purpose. Harborview had been my dream. But now it was just the beginning. I wasn't just fighting for one project anymore. I was fighting for a future where my work, my team, and my vision would never again be overshadowed. As I stood up and walked out of the conference room, I felt the shift in energy. My colleagues looked at me with renewed respect, their eyes shining with relief and admiration. Even Jenna at reception gave me a small, knowing smile. "Congratulations, Scarlett," she said. "We all knew you'd come out on top." "Thanks," I replied, meaning it more than she'd ever know. I knew there would be challenges ahead. Amelia's allies wouldn't disappear overnight, and trust would take time to rebuild. But for the first time in weeks, I wasn't afraid. I was ready. Because sometimes, the greatest opportunities come when you refuse to be silenced, when you fight for what's right, and when you believe in yourself, even when no one else does. Harborview was mine, and so was my future. And I'd be damned if I let anyone take that away from me again. I arrived at the office earlier than usual the next morning, the sun barely cresting over the city skyline. The building felt different today, no longer a fortress of intimidation, but a place where I finally felt I belonged. My keycard beeped as I entered, and for the first time in weeks, I didn't hesitate before stepping through the door. As I walked down the hall, the framed photos of past projects, some with Amelia's name still mistakenly credited, seemed to fade into the background. Harborview had been my battleground, but it had also been my proving ground. I'd fought to reclaim my authorship, my integrity, and ultimately, my voice. Jacob was already at his desk, eyes bright with anticipation. "Morning, Scarlett," he called, his tone lighter than it had been in weeks. "Big day ahead?" "Biggest yet," I replied, flashing him a smile. We'd scheduled an all-team meeting at 9 a.m. to formally relaunch Harborview under my leadership. It felt like more than just a project update. It was a chance to reset the tone of the team and to acknowledge the challenges we'd all faced. As the conference room filled, I took a moment to study the faces of my colleagues. Some were new hires, eager but cautious. Others were veterans, their loyalty tested by the recent turmoil. I'd watched them wrestle with uncertainty while Amelia's shadow loomed over the project. Now, it was time to bring them back into the light. I cleared my throat and began. First, I want to thank each of you for your patience, your professionalism, and your dedication through everything that's happened. My voice was steady, but the emotion beneath it was real. I know the last few weeks have been confusing and frustrating. But today, we start fresh. I clicked through slides showcasing Harborview's latest updates, concept renderings, sustainable design solutions, community integration plans. Each one bore the unmistakable mark of my design philosophy: beauty with purpose, functionality with heart. As we move forward, I continued, I want to make it clear that this project is a team effort. Every idea, every sketch, every conversation we have matters. No one's contributions will go unrecognized. I saw Jacob's shoulders relax, and Jenna nodded subtly from the back row. A sense of unity began to ripple through the room. After the presentation, I invited questions. A young designer named Lily raised her hand. Scarlett, I was worried that the way things were handled might discourage innovation. How do we make sure that doesn't happen again? Her question hit me hard. I'd asked myself the same thing during countless sleepless nights. That's a great question, Lily, I said, and it's one we all need to answer together. Moving forward, we'll implement a transparent review process for design concepts, including clear authorship and collaborative credits. I want every team member to feel confident that their work will be recognized and protected. She smiled, relief evident on her face. Another team member, Carlos, spoke up next. Scarlett, with you leading, I know we'll get Harborview done right. But what about our reputation with Archer and Hayes? Will they trust us again? I nodded. It's true, we have some rebuilding to do. But Archer and Hayes has already expressed full confidence in our team. And they're excited to continue working with us, specifically because of the integrity we've demonstrated. They saw the truth when it mattered most. And I'm committed to making sure that trust is never broken again. The meeting ended on a high note. The team's morale lifted and a new sense of purpose taking root. As the room emptied, Jacob lingered behind. Scarlett, he said softly, I just wanted to say thank you. You showed us how to stand up for ourselves and our work. His words filled me with a quiet pride. Thank you, Jacob, I replied. This project isn't just about buildings. It's about building each other up, too. Later that day, as I reviewed design drafts for Harborview's community spaces, I found myself reflecting on my own journey. For years, I'd focused solely on the work, on meeting deadlines, on making clients happy, on delivering the best design. I'd let others, like Amelia, take the credit without pushing back, hoping that my work would speak for itself. But Harborview had taught me that sometimes the work isn't enough. Sometimes you have to speak up, to stand your ground, to demand the recognition you've earned. That wasn't arrogance, it was self-respect. I thought about the other designers who'd confided in me since Amelia's exposure. Some whispering about projects where their ideas had been overshadowed. Others sharing how they'd learned to stay quiet. I realized that my fight wasn't just for me, it was for all of them. 2. At that moment, I made a decision. In my new role as creative director of urban revitalization, I would prioritize mentorship and credit sharing. I would champion every voice at the table, ensuring that no one's ideas were stolen or buried. I would make sure that Whitestone and Parker became a place where collaboration thrived without the threat of betrayal. That afternoon, I drafted a new initiative, a design authorship policy that would require documented contributions on every project, with clear attributions and shared recognition. I shared it with Peter and Laura, who both responded enthusiastically. Scarlett, Peter wrote back, this is exactly the kind of leadership we need. As I read his email, I felt a sense of closure, and a sense of new beginnings. Harborview had started as a chance to revitalize a forgotten neighborhood. Now, it had revitalized me, too. It had taught me that strength isn't just about talent or ambition, it's about integrity, resilience, and the courage to protect what matters most. And as I looked out the window at the bustling city below, I knew that this was just the beginning. My journey wasn't defined by Amelia's betrayal or the stolen credit. It was defined by how I'd risen above it. Because in the end, I wasn't just rebuilding a skyline. I was rebuilding my own sense of self, and laying the foundation for the future I deserved. The days that followed my reinstatement were a blur of meetings, design reviews, and conversations with stakeholders eager to see Harborview rise again, this time with the right person at the helm. I poured my energy into every detail, working alongside the team that had always had my back, transforming a project that had nearly been stolen from me into a testament to resilience and integrity. One morning, as I walked the construction site with Jacob, the sun caught the steel beams just right, casting a golden glow that made everything feel new. I paused for a moment, letting the weight of the moment settle over me. "You know," I said, glancing at Jacob, "I never thought I'd get to see this through. After everything that happened with Amelia, I wondered if I'd even want to." He nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I think everyone here feels the same way. But the fact that you're still standing, still leading, gives the rest of us hope." I smiled, the knot in my chest loosening. "Hope," I repeated softly. "That's what Harborview is supposed to represent. A place where a community can thrive, where everyone feels they belong." We continued our walk, checking the progress on the green rooftop gardens, my signature touch, and the communal spaces designed to bring people together. Every detail felt like a victory, not just for me, but for the entire team that had stayed loyal, even in the darkest days. Back at the office, I found an email waiting for me from the Portland City Commissioner. "Scarlett, the Community Council would love to have you speak at the grand opening of Harborview. Your vision has truly transformed this neighborhood. We'd also like to recognize you for your contributions to sustainable urban design. Let us know if you can attend." I blinked at the screen, emotions surging. I'd spent so long fighting for the right to be heard, to be credited for my work. Now, I was being celebrated for it. I hit reply. "I would be honored to attend. Thank you for believing in this project, and in me." The weeks that followed were some of the most fulfilling of my career. Harborview took shape under my guidance, each milestone a reminder that integrity can prevail. The design team worked tirelessly, and their creativity flourished in the environment of trust and collaboration I'd fought so hard to build. Amidst the excitement, I carved out time to mentor younger architects. One afternoon, Lily, the same designer who'd asked the hard question during the team meeting, stopped by my office. "Scarlett," she said, a little shyly, "I wanted to thank you for everything you've done. I've learned so much about design, of course, but also about standing up for what's right." Her words warmed my heart. "You have a voice, Lily," I said. "Never let anyone take that from you. Not here, not anywhere." She nodded, her eyes bright with determination. The grand opening day arrived with clear blue skies and a sense of celebration in the air. As I approached Harborview, I saw families milling about, kids chasing each other around the new community garden, and local business owners setting up stands to showcase their goods. The entire neighborhood had turned out, eager to see the transformation. James Donovan from Archer and Hayes shook my hand as I arrived. "Scarlett," he said, his voice full of admiration. "This project is everything we hoped it would be, and more." "Thank you, James," I replied. "I couldn't have done it without your support, and without the team that believed in me." Portland's commissioner introduced me to the crowd. "Ladies and gentlemen, today we celebrate not just a new development, but a symbol of community, sustainability, and resilience, and it's all thanks to the vision and leadership of Scarlett Ramirez." The applause that followed was like a wave, lifting me higher than I'd ever felt before. I stepped up to the microphone, my heart pounding. "Thank you," I began, my voice steady despite the emotions threatening to spill over. "When I started this project, I wanted to create a space that would bring people together, that would stand as a testament to what we can achieve when we work with integrity and purpose." I paused, scanning the faces of the crowd, colleagues, community members, even a few who'd once doubted me. Harborview is more than a building. It's a promise that every voice matters, that every contribution is valued, and that no one's dreams should ever be stolen by someone else's ambition. The words came naturally, drawn from the well of experience and pain that had forged me into who I'd become. In this industry, and in life, it's easy to feel overshadowed, to let others take the credit for your work. But I've learned that the only way to truly honor your talent is to fight for it. To stand up for what's right, even when it's hard. A hush settled over the crowd as I continued. This project taught me that integrity isn't just about honesty, it's about courage. The courage to face betrayal, to confront injustice, and to rise stronger than before. I smiled then, a genuine smile that reached every corner of my being. Today, Harborview stands as proof that no one can steal your light if you refuse to let it be dimmed. Let this be a place where every person, every designer, every dreamer, knows that their voice matters. The applause rose again, this time carrying a note of triumph that echoed everything I'd fought for. As I stepped away from the podium, Jacob met me with a grin. That, he said, was the best speech I've ever heard. Thanks, I laughed, wiping a tear from my cheek. I guess I had a lot to say. He nodded, and every word needed to be said. In that moment, I knew that Harborview wasn't just a project, it was a turning point in my life. I'd faced betrayal, but I'd chosen to fight, to rebuild, to lead with integrity, and I'd come out stronger, with a renewed sense of purpose. Harborview would always be the place where I proved to myself, and to everyone else, that resilience, honesty, and unwavering commitment to the truth are the foundations on which the strongest structures are built. If I've learned anything from the Harborview battle, it's that in any profession, especially one as competitive as architecture, your most valuable asset isn't just your talent or creativity. It's your integrity. Ideas can be stolen, credit can be misattributed, and your voice can be overshadowed by louder, more manipulative colleagues. But the strength to stand up, to say, "This is mine," and to defend your work is what truly defines success. I also learned that resilience is a muscle that grows only through challenge. You can't build it by avoiding conflict or by hoping others will stand up for you. Sometimes you have to be your own champion, even when it's scary or uncomfortable. In the end, I discovered that the respect of your peers and the legacy of your work aren't given, they're earned through perseverance, authenticity, and an unwavering commitment to your values. And that's a lesson I'll carry with me far beyond Harborview. For anyone working in a competitive field, the Harborview experience is a powerful reminder that protecting your creative work is essential. Keep thorough records, emails, drafts, design files with timestamps. Document your process meticulously. It can be the difference between recognition and betrayal. Equally important is to build genuine relationships within your team. When the storm comes, and it always does, having allies who believe in your integrity can make all the difference. Most importantly, learn to advocate for yourself. Your work is valuable, your ideas matter, and no matter how talented or ambitious others may be, no one has the right to claim what you've created. Integrity, resilience, and courage. These are the tools that build not only great projects but also a lasting, respected career. Thank you for choosing to listen to this story among thousands of stories out there. Like and subscribe to continue listening to the latest stories.